I mentioned this dollar CAD trade setup that I'm looking at. Do you have anything pressing, any ideas that you're looking at today?
So just dollar pairs in general, really. I'm seeing a bit of, they're either at levels like you spoke about Aussie dollar, US dollar, for example. They're either at levels of support, and I wouldn't like to potentially take this any further yet because we're hitting support. And it just seems like there's a lot of difficulty to trade the US dollar majors. I'll give you another example with pound US dollar. So I sort of do a top-down approach, guys, as you probably know. And if I looked at this weekly chart, yeah, I would be all over this for a buy trade if I only traded the weekly chart. Because this has come back to a really nice weekly level. We're in an uptrend, and we've got this area of support, and we've even got the moving average 20. So I really like this zone, to potentially take price back up to this grey zone, if not higher. But then, this is the weekly chart. If I look on the daily chart, it completely contradicts this idea. And this is the problem I'm having with the US dollar pairs and the yen pairs, actually. So if I looked at the day chart, guys, I would be very reluctant to buy this. This is potentially a good area of resistance to take price lower. So we're in a situation where we potentially got, weekly buyers, daily sellers. And then, do I want to be in that fight? Because what would, usually happen, you might just see a bit of sideways price action as a result of that. And, I'm seeing this on pound US dollar and also euro US dollar. All some of these dollar majors are at levels I can't trade them. They're just not ready. So, yeah, not finding a lot of setups this week, to be quite honest.
That's fair. And maybe, Tom, with the introduction of CPI, which will be happening, of course, on Thursday, you may get some more decisive moves. You may get some more setups coming down the pipeline with that. What about you, Frank? Are you looking at anything ahead of CPI? Of course, as I mentioned, CPI is Thursday, so market's expected to move. But do you have anything that you're looking at ahead of that?
Yeah, so I'm looking at a couple setups right now. One on oil. I was in it yesterday, but I got stopped out, and I'm looking at more potential entries. Today's candle is kind of weak, but what we're gonna have to see is a close.
Want to stay up to date with all the latest trading information? In the description below, you'll find the link to join our free Discord. The Discord gives you instant access to lots of helpful material like free trading courses, chart analysis, updates about what's happening in the A1 community, as well as discount codes for our other products and services. The best part, all of this and more is 100% free. So go down in the description below this video and check it out for yourself. If you're interested in upgrading to the full VIP Discord featuring our team of expert traders signals, you can use the live chat link in the description to get connected with one of our team members in seconds. So don't wait, go check out the free Discord today.
To the upside, there's if we can see some buying pressure. It's up against a double top, which I guess now is a triple top after it rejected that high. But I'm looking at oil because of China and their CPI coming out at, 9:30 tonight. They're expecting lower CPI, which could be an indication that, demand is falling, and overall their economy it might not be as robust as we thought it was, but that sounds pretty bearish for oil, although I'm looking at smart money that's been buying it up for the past couple of weeks, and they're only doing it to this commodity, so there could be a chance that maybe they're betting on, maybe expectations will actually get beat, or they'll be I don't know, or they'll meet. Like, either way, China's inflation is expected to go down, which in that case I will probably not look for a long on gold, but for now I'm looking at potential buy setups on that, as well as Kiwi yen. I'm in a trade right now, but if structure breaks under this sort of range, I'll probably be stopped out, but then I'll probably look for another entry at the trend line, which is where is that at? Like 85.9 or 86. And they got their CPI coming out today, which is also going to really move the market, I think. Meanwhile, we see smart money buying up Kiwi, selling yen on both the long and short side. So I think what we might be seeing could be falling inflation. I think we've seen that the past 3 reports on Kiwi, but I'm not totally convinced that, falling inflation is the best indicator for them because of their central bank. If prices remain this high for a long period of time, even though they're coming down, they can still miss expectations and not fall to what the RBNZ wants. So I think maybe this could indicate that they want to keep rates higher for longer. Meanwhile, the yen's or Japan's inflation is coming up, and there's not really much they're doing about it. Although, like, inflation is pretty significant in saying, their central bank should step in. They leave like almost no indication that they will. So it's looking at, once again, 2 different central banks.
Yeah, and again, inflation still reigns to be kind of one of the most important factors, whether it's China, New Zealand, of course, the US coming on Thursday. So lots of data coming in will likely cause some good market moves. Tom, Frank was talking a little bit about some yen pairs. Do you have any thoughts on yen pairs today?
So, not to be like, the bearer of bad news, but again, yen pairs are just, for me, showing contradiction. So let's look at, let's look at pound yen. Okay, so for example, on the weekly chart, we're just for me, we're seeing a bit of these bearish weekly candles. So this is pound yen, this is a weekly sell. New Zealand yen, look at this weekly candle, and we keep seeing this across a lot of the yen pairs. So again, I'm getting this weekly selling pressure, although it is in an uptrend. Clearly in an uptrend, and I really like this level for buys, but I cannot buy into a weekly candle like this. That's the problem I'm having. If we see the day chart, the day chart is in an uptrend and at a potential excellent value area, potentially coming down, shot back up. We were getting higher highs. It's retraced to, these lows, and we've got a nice bullish reaction. Will it want to go a little bit further down to these lows? Maybe. But, that is potentially a good value play to look for buys. But it's just that weekly candle that, is putting me off the yen pairs at the moment. But then Frank mentioned oil. So, like Frank mentioned, there's this area of resistance where oil is, coming down from. And this ties in with a euro Canadian dollar trade that we're looking at, guys. So, there hasn't been many setups, but euro Canadian dollar, ever since we broke this high here, we've been in an uptrend. And this bullish candle was the catalyst for me to look for buys. And we've got targets, these blue lines are my targets. And this idea ties in nicely with Frank's idea. If oil, comes tumbling down, then the Canadian dollar will become weaker because they are, correlated. And, this would mean that euro Canadian dollar, continue to push up. So this is a trade idea I am looking at, and coincides with what Frank thinks about oil. So
Sure. No, and I think it will be again such a volatile week for commodities. I was making the point just before you guys got on, when it comes to metals markets, commodities markets in general. I think there's a little bit of probably some, well, clearly the dollar rising here today is putting a lot of pressure on commodities like gold and oil. I haven't looked too close at the news, but I can suspect from some of the tweets that I've seen out there that there is a bit of more hawkish tone coming from the Federal Reserve, that perhaps there is that chance that an additional rate hike will be coming. In our last round of rate hikes, it was very, very clear or very, very much assumed by many analysts, banks around the United States were pretty much forecasting for no more rate hikes. It does seem like that during this fall, which kind of came with that environment, right? You saw this huge sell-off following that previous report. Well, now sentiment is kind of leaning or coming back a little bit, saying, hey, there may actually be a chance that we need to go another rate hike higher. And again, that is why, as we go into this week, I think CPI is going to be so important to see whether or not the nail is in the coffin for this this rate hike cycle, or if there genuinely is talks of another hike, perhaps a pause before another hike. You know, that is the question that many investors are watching. And of course, we take a look at the US dollar. If you are a dollar bear, I would argue that this is probably kind of your line in the sand. This is a daily chart. You've had a really strong run to the upside, but sellers are probably going to want to hold on tight to this level. If they're unable to hold that, it is very possible that you could see indices continue to fall, commodities continue to get beat down. It's all about that US dollar trade, I would say, here today. And of course, we'll be covering that throughout the week here, especially with CPI and PPI to come Thursday and Friday. I think we'll get some clarity on the dollar. My personal opinion is that if the dollar breaks out here, if CPI comes out hot, if PPI comes out hot, if we see some numbers that surprise the markets, there's a solid chance that we see another rate hike. And if that does occur, the dollar stays strong for a while. And in that case, I probably avoid going short. Many people who have been watching the streams, they know I've been pretty bearish about it. Frank and I have been bearish together on the dollar index. I would say we're at the extremes here. We got to see the decision point to be made going forwards.
Don't forget to check out the links in the description if you want our broker recommendation, access to our free Discord, free EDGEFINDER, or want to chat with us on Telegram. Remember, you can watch us live in the markets every morning starting at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time, and we have lots more free trading tools and content available on our website, a1trading.com. Thanks for watching.